what's happening right now is Donald Trump is about to be the first sitting president to appear at a Super Bowl. What is it? Super Bowl? Is it 29? Which Super Bowl is this?
I have no idea.
You're asking the wrong people.
Yeah, I got no idea. I don't really watch the Super Bowl except to pick apart the
symbolism?
esoteric halftime shows. That's the only reason that I watch the Super Bowl. But he is going to be the first sitting president to make an appearance at the Super Bowl. And I think I found the connection. Now, I've been going on a tangent. I've been saying they're going to do some sort of a large terrorist attack at the Super Bowl. And that's just me being hyperbolic, right? Just to kind of get people to come over here and look at my eggs. Please look at my eggs. It's really hard to get people to look at your eggs when you just say, will you look at these eggs?
Right.
But if I tell you that there's going to be an attack at the Super Bowl, you go, fine, show me the eggs. So at least we've gotten that far, right? So where's the connection? This Superdome is called Caesar's Superdome. That is the location of the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So I see Caesars, because what I was waiting for, as I was like, I'm going to look up this place that they're going to do it's going to be the Egg Dome, or so that's going to be the name of it. It's going to be the Egg, I don't know, something like that. But instead I find Caesar's Superdome. So I go, okay, I've got to further my confirmation bias. There has to be some sort of conjoining tissue between Caesar and the egg. So what I find, much to my pleasure, and this isn't a black pill thing. We were talking about it a little bit. I don't get black pilled looking into these sorts of situations, because really everything that I find bolsters the idea that the realm in which we inhabit is created. There is a God who has created this, and we are going through an experience, and that there is a much larger spiritual realm, and there's some place that we go after, and we're meant to do something while we're here. So whenever I see elements that remind me that, or makes it feel like this is theater, I'm actually reassured in a large way. This does not make me feel bad. So what I find is this quote: "And since the quarrel will bear no color for the thing he is, fashion it thus, that what he is augmented would run to these and these extremities, and therefore think of him as a serpent's egg, which hatched would as his kind grow mischievous, and kill him in the shell." What this is an excerpt from Julius Caesar, Act 2, Scene 1, 28 through 34. This is a quote from Brutus, and in it, he is speculating that it would be better to kill Caesar before he rises to power, much like you would kill a serpent in an egg to prevent this mischievous creature from being hatched onto the world. Now, this is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, trying to find a connection, desperately trying to validate my schizophrenia, to then stumble upon that. Not only does it have the egg in it, it has the serpent's egg.
Well, don't you also think that the Superdome looks like an egg?
I didn't want to be the schizo to say it, but yes, dude, it does look like an egg, albeit there's a caveat. It's perfectly circular.
Oh, wait,
okay, but if I was looking at an egg from the top down, it would appear perfectly circular. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, Shane Cashman, it does bear resemblance.
It's egg adjacent. It's egg adjacent. What are you gonna say?
Well, I have a stupid, small conspiratorial theory.
Okay, there's no such thing.
Okay,
no such thing.
Well, it's Super Bowl 59, but setting that aside, so when I think of this egg, good egg, bad egg, golden egg, I think of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's good.
So,
that's good.
Right, and so Veruca, the character, she goes down the chute, right, because she's bad.
A
She's
bad
egg.
Yep.
So, who played Wonka in the newest movie? The remake of it was Timothy Chalamet.
Ooh.
And Timothy Chalamet is in the news because he did a commercial with Kendrick Lamar.
We are radicalizing Alex in real time, people. This is amazing. Keep going.
And Kendrick Lamar is doing, the halftime show.
Yes.
And there's another theory there. There's something else there too. But they're also saying that maybe he's going to bring out Timothy Chalamet during the halftime show. So we can sit here and wait and see if that happens. Oh. But also, I found this weird video about this guy who said, well, what's the connection between Timothy Chalamet and Kendrick Lamar? Well, Timothy Chalamet also played Bob Dylan in a movie who wrote a diss song, just like Kendrick Lamar had wrote a diss song. And they shared like a similar like
Interesting
snippet of a song or like a lyric in within their diss songs.
Interesting.
So an interesting connection there.
Who did Dylan diss? Sorry,
I don't remember. Huh. I'll have to.
It's interesting right now because Kendrick Lamar is kind of he's being sort of pushed back by the Christian community, certainly, because he's doing things that are making a mockery of Christ, right? He's wearing his crown of thorns and things like that.
Right.
It's an interesting choice to have this character play at this halftime show. What I will say is the past few Super Bowls have been rather uneventful. Gone are the days of like a Madonna who's on stage dressed like a Baphomet in glitter, and she's standing on a winged Egyptian sun disk. All of it used to be right on its face. Now, the best that we get is like when the camera's cut for the main audience, Rihanna did do like the evil eye symbol where she put, you know, her finger over her eyes right there. And that's people are going to chastise.
Don't do that.
But, you know, it used to be much more overt. So I'm hoping in my heart that we can get back to our roots as a country and make the Super Bowl an overt display of Satanism again, because I don't like it when my Satanism is closeted. I want it to be out in the open. I want to be able to identify it.
Right.
And I want to be able to see all the symbols and such associated with it. Now, look.
Well, maybe we're just doing it too obvious now. So they're like, okay, we got to like bring it back a little bit. You know, and keep in mind,
it's to build suspense for this one. That's what I think.
I mean, Timothée Chalamet is dating a Kardashian clan member too. So
you mean one of the many witches in the highest witch coven?
I mean, you want to talk about Satan and conspiracies, and you know.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I'm just here pushing buttons. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
I like it.
These are good buttons.
I like it. They are.
Now look, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. We just had a strange moment take place where actually this is while I was doing my feverish egg research. I'm just scouring the internet looking for eggs. I'm on YouTube. Give me the eggs. I need more eggs, please. And suddenly I realized that in my queue there is a live. Donald Trump is about to go live with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I go, that's interesting. So I click on it a few times. Takes a while to get started. Go, okay, fine. I'll do more egg research in the meantime. Eventually, it comes on. And as soon as it does, I decide not to watch it because it looks very boring. And I'm like, I'll catch the highlights later. Right. All right. So I go and I catch the highlights. And everybody is kind of enamored with this moment where Donald Trump is talking about, first he pushes in the chair of Netanyahu. And that seems like the world cries simp, right? Everybody goes, boo, not good. And I go, well, it's polite. It's nice. But you do have to take into consideration that there's a lot of body language symbolism when it comes to world leaders meeting, especially in their handshakes and things like that. Who gets the dominant top position? If you get the low position, then a way that you can recoup is to then pull them in and grab the back of their elbow. This is indicative of dominance. So you will actually see these jockeying for positions take place when world leaders meet. So yeah, fine. I'll give the people their due. It is a submissive gesture to do that. But what happens next is really bizarre and flies in the face of it. Donald Trump goes on to describe how he is going to essentially occupy Gaza. Right. That America's military is going to occupy Gaza. And he goes on to describe why this is beneficial, yada, yada, yada. But the main takeaway here is Netanyahu's face. Yeah. Now, it could be theater. I'm open to all of this being theater. Mm-hmm. But then the only question is it real or were we made to perceive it as real? But either way, what we were made to perceive is that didn't look like it jived with Netanyahu, dude. Yeah, it didn't look like he liked that. Yeah. It looked like that was surprising to him, in fact.
Yep.
And then he gifts Trump a golden beeper encased in like a severed stump. It's nice. It looks good.
Right.
But it's interesting because
that's crazy.
It feels like a threat.
Right. Here's this thing I can turn into a weapon. Yeah. We're pulling it up on the screen right now that you shared. This is wild. So what is the deal with this when you saw this beeper? Other than that, this is what Israel used to blow up a bunch of people. So what else did you see here?
Well, I think it almost doesn't matter what else I saw because that was meant to be the perception that the public got, or not even the public, because we really are separated, right? There are sort of the unthinking masses, which will go in any direction like lemmings.
Yeah.
But if you seek total control, then you have to address the critical thinkers, or conspiracy theorists, as I'd prefer to be called. And so I think what you do for us is you drop compelling breadcrumbs for us to lock onto. And I don't necessarily mean that think it means it's a false trail or anything like that. I just recognize that we were meant to discern this in a certain way. The vast majority of people saw it as a veiled threat, not even very veiled. So what then becomes interesting is if it's a veiled threat, in what way is this threat going to be made good on? And given everything that we just laid out, Caesar's Superdome, the Orphic Egg, more importantly, order out of chaos, and that'll come into play in a moment, Donald Trump being the first sitting president at a Super Bowl. I'm just saying that we live in a time where I no longer think it's contentious to say that we are subjected to false flag events.
Of course.
And that the purpose of those false flag events are to then justify, with the backing of a sympathetic public, a new war or a new occupation of sorts, or
right.
maybe a new rollout of restrictions or a removal of rights, right. A contention of the Constitution, anything. That's the name of the game. There's an event, Hegelian dialect, right? Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. The public reacts the way they want them to react, and then they offer up the solution. It's very common. This is a plot mechanism that's used in children's shows. You know what I mean? It's not a hidden methodology, but it is an effective one. And we only need to look to 9/11. Right. Maybe we could look at even more recent years. Maybe 5 years ago, we gave up a lot for a problem that might not have been as genuine as we were made to believe it was.
Yeah.
So, look, Elon Musk says that the most entertaining outcome is the likeliest outcome. And I tend to agree with him in that way. I think that's even a little bit of a pull back on the curtain.
Yeah.
And I do believe that what we are subjected to at the highest levels of politics is theater, and that the biggest events that unfold on the world stage are theater. So if this was a good movie, what would happen is, because it now seems that maybe Trump isn't playing as buddy-buddy with Israel as we were led to believe, and maybe he's now no longer Netanyahu's favorite guy, well, wouldn't it be beneficial to attack the Super Bowl, take out Donald Trump?
You just reminded me of something. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
Even blame it on Iran?
Oh, of course. That's their wet dream with false flags. But you just reminded me of something. When the Cybertruck exploded on the first day of this year, I tweeted that meant that we just entered the third third Batman movie. And what happens in the third Batman movie?
Ooh, man. I mean, you had to be high-fiving yourself after that call. That's a wonderful call. Right? Just a little inclination. Sometimes I think we intuit things. Just the fact, you know why? Because on the 20th, if you go back to my Twitter on January 20th, I said, it is time for Kanye West to reemerge. And I didn't say that because I had, I don't know, like some sort of inside information. I just felt that the theater had reached a certain point in its development, and that now we needed to enter, stage left, a familiar face who had previously been chastised by the community at large, but now has turned out to be vindicated some way or another. And unfortunately, we've got the worst possible version of Kanye West. I'm not going to say I don't appreciate his trolling, but I miss, to a nod to his song. I miss the old Kanye. And I think everybody does.
Right.
But I think that sometimes if you look at things the way I look at things, or the way that you look at things, Shane, which is highly skeptically, conspiratorially, and maybe with a little sprinkle of schizophrenia, there are some things that you just feel, if this is not real and it is theater, we might expect to see this thing happen. So that call, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want to peel apart this theater thing really quick. Don't forget what you want to say. False flags are a way of tweaking the narrative, right? I always talk about how we're in post reality, which is this fake simulation on top of base reality. And that's a way to puppeteer. it's ventriloquism of the narrative, right? That's something laid on top of. So a false flag would happen to promote the story the industrial complex, the military and media industrial complex wants to sell and make you react to, which is why, and maybe I'm just saying this to justify my own schizophrenia, we are allowed to see things that are embedded in the narrative because there is this false reality that's cooked on top of what we're at, right? And I spent 10 years teaching a college class called narrative studies, which is probably a little of my problem as well, where like you're picking apart a story, looking at all the things that the author put in there, right? But and someone would be like, well, this is just reality. But like I said, we're in post-reality. There's something on top of this that this complex is doing, like you're saying, like it's theater. So, yes. And they get off on the symbols. Like we had, you've done shows about it. I've done shows about it. The symbols are baked right into the DNA of this false reality.